I'm Jenny Guy. I lead product marketing for our private sector and regulator business segments here at TRM.
And I am Tom Armstrong. I run our compliance advisory function.
We're so excited to welcome you to our first episode of Intel Snacks. This is a series where we unpack an interesting piece of Intel and what it means for compliance teams. And we do this while eating snacks. So, Tom, what are we chatting about today?
Iran's in the news. We are talking about Iran and specifically Iranian capital flight. So money leaving the country.
But before we dive in, let's talk snacks. Today's theme is favorite snacks. Tom has given me his favorite snack, a Chico Stick, which is a candy from the 1950s.
I am doing Jenny's favorite snack, which is Cheez-Its. My kids coerced me into buying a box of Cheez-Its the other day at the grocery store. I won't say it was the worst mistake in my shopping cart, but I'm a little bit nervous about this one.
Amazing. So definitely stay until the end for some very candid snack reactions. But first, let's dive in. Tom, can you give us a little bit of context around what we're seeing from Iran?
Yeah, absolutely. So Iran obviously been in the news all weekend. I'm sure people saw the strikes in Iran and around the Persian Gulf. But before the actual attacks, one of the principal catalysts for the conflict right now was all the mass protests in Iran. And the protests were largely driven by their economy, which was in complete free fall and still is. The value of the rial was completely falling. Inflation had been entrenched for years, sometimes as high as 40%. And then you layer on top of that, the Trump administration had this maximum pressure campaign, which included not just stricter sanctions, but also this global effort to track and seize vessels that were tied to Iranian's shadow oil fleet. So when you combine severe economic distress with comprehensive sanctions, it's predictable that we would see a lot of capital flight out of the country, right? So Iranian wealth is essentially leaving the country in record numbers. And that ultimately brings risk of sanctions evasion and tainted property that could hit your institutions. FinCEN has been talking about this lately as well. You may remember that last fall, they released a financial trend analysis talking about the Iranian shadow banking economy. One of the things that they mentioned was, and it was fascinating, they said that there were about $9 billion in flows that they had seen in suspicious activity reports that people had reported. Coincidentally, that is the same amount that the Iranian central bank said that they had seen a record number of net outflows in Q2 of last year. So you have this money in, billions of dollars that's leaving the country. It's leaving through this shadow banking network, which is essentially front companies, oil companies, investment companies, moving assets abroad. Funds didn't just stay in the region. They went through US and UK institutions and correspondent accounts. What struck me about FinCEN's FTA was that the majority of the originating accounts, they said, were being sent from Chinese and Hong Kong-based accounts. Here's the really fascinating connection with crypto. We absolutely see crypto rails being used as one of the mechanisms for this capital flight. And if you trace out from some of these Iranian entities and follow the flow of funds and these sanctions evasion patterns, they look really similar to what we see from Chinese money laundering organizations in terms of the tactics, the techniques, how they layer those funds. And a material amount of these digital asset fund flows are ending up in more regulated institutions and exchanges, exactly consistent with what FinCEN had noted in their FTA last fall.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting to see the timeline of these events. So, starting from the predatory sparrow hack, one of our TRM's threat intel analysts found something really interesting, started to pull apart that thread, ultimately leading to a Washington Post article about this, uncovering two UK front companies that were basically facilitating sanctions evasion flows using stablecoins and digital assets for Iran. So, like, thinking about this timeline and some of the intel that's out there, if I'm a compliance analyst listening to this, what are some of the actionable takeaways that I can use and think about for my own compliance program?
Yeah, one of the things I like talking a lot about is having intelligence-driven controls. This is, I think, different from a risk-based approach because intelligence gives you really clear signal of what the risks are and where to go kind of hunt for these nexus points. So in the crypto compliance space, I think this is where it's helpful to have a team who has workflow flexibility that can go down some rabbit holes, right? When your compliance controls are based completely on just screening and monitoring, the thing directly in front of you, the address directly in front of you, you're likely to miss this typology because the layering is so extensive. You have to have teams that are more agile, can spend time investigating accounts that maybe are hitting some of the traditional red flags that FinCEN noted, like consistent velocity, not maintaining much of an account balance, ties to the UAE, Singapore, Hong Kong, right? But also be able to dig down and try to find connections to Iranian touch points as the source of funding. Again, basic screening and monitoring is good for some basic functions, but that's not enough to identify this particular risk where we're seeing a lot of the outflows and the typologies and how it manifests itself. So the intelligence suggests it's just too obfuscated, but it is there if you're able to again kind of do some of those deeper dives. Speaking of deeper dives on rabbit holes we're maybe nervous to go around, should we dive into our snacks?
Yes, I definitely think we should. Do you want to go first, Tom?
I would go first. I don't know what cheese it was going for here. It says it's made with 100% real cheese, and I'm just going to pretend that's true. Um, but I don't believe it. I have not had a Cheez It for 20 years, 25, 30 years, and for good reason.
Are they better than
Oh,
you remembered?
oh, no way. Okay. Absolutely not. So at first, not bad. The flavor didn't hit me, which was good. When the flavor hits late, it's like a kicker, and then it comes in a way that I don't like. No, that's a no for me. That's an absolute no.
A really fantastic Cheez It review. All right, let me see. Okay, so I knew nothing about this candy. It is a crunchy peanut butter rolled in toasted coconut. Sounds
If I
pretty
may just
promising.
set the scene for you as you partake, Chico sticks are perfect for long road drives, feet on the dashboard, windows down, big blue skies in front of you. That's the perfect setting for a Chico stick.
All right, here we go. It's not bad.
Yeah, yeah, it's delicious. It's like the texture is perfect.
I think
Butterfinger
you're right when
texture.
you
Yeah,
describe this to me as basically the inside of a Butterfinger.
yeah, but not as crumbly. It's
Yeah.
put together nicely with the little kind of coconut flavor. So yeah.
All right. I think we were one for one on these snacks.
New favorite snack for you. A confirmed not favorite snack for me. I can now confirm that buying more Cheez-Its last night at the grocery store was a mistake.
It's not. Cheez-Its are still my number one, but this was an okay snack. Anyways, thank you all for joining us. Hope you come next time where we are going to have new intel and new snacks. See ya.